my name is Lindsay Zaire, and I'll be talking to you about my presentation paper, Children Affected by Gender Stereotyping. My paper begins talking about how throughout the ages, men and women have both been categorized into certain types of jobs and characteristics, values, morals due to their gender. Most of this gender stereotyping is taught to us by our parents or society. And it just goes on to kind of talk about who's responsible for what and how this can have a negative impact on a child. A lot of the times children will be held back because of their gender due to educational choices or future career choices, also opportunities in society. So that's the beginning of my paper. The next paragraph is about a child's perception of gender. So I go on to talk about younger ages where I feel like the foundation is pretty much started for gender stereotyping. Toddler 1 to 4 is pretty much uninterested in gender. They just want to play and experience new things. So it wouldn't be abnormal for them to not even worry about gender. Then as they progress to the ages of 4 to 7, they notice that there are some rules when it comes to gender. What a girl does and what a boy does and what's appropriate for their gender and what will help them to fit into society. And then a little bit later after 7, as you get into later childhood, they are a little bit more secure with themselves and their gender, so they don't worry so much about what they are doing, or they start to try to break the rules since they now know them. My next paragraph is about how gifted children, I read an article by Kerr and Moulton, and it showed how gender stereotyping can truly affect gifted children, or I would guess this would go for any other children, about their education. Many girls and boys react differently to gender stereotyping, and as I said in my paper, sometimes women or girls are negatively affected by this because they prefer their male counterpart because of the competitiveness and the math and science courses. Also, men are withheld from doing something that they truly love and are passionate about because it may be considered a female type of activity. It also states about how if a boy was to start a female or a girl field of study, that it would be a little bit more accepting of the boy than the boys would be of a girl trying to start a boy field of study. It has a negative effect on the female, whereas the boy, he's kind of brought in and nurtured. We also have a negative effect on social anxiety and isolation. Children are made up of cues that the world kind of creates around them, and that's how they decide what they're going to be or who they're going to be. Again, this goes into the fact that how they'll be accepted, how they'll be viewed. Most of the time it's a negative light. Boys and girls are viewed differently when they pick different types of activities or sports. The boys' masculinity could be jeopardized, where the women can be seen as cold, or and most of the time women are seen as incapable or subpar, like they're not even able to go ahead and join that sport or activity. The last one is preventing occupational opportunities. A lot of the times children are kept from doing things that they truly love because of their gender. I'm a nurse, so I see it a lot within the nursing profession. Male nurses are kind of we're not really sure where to put them because it's still a growing occupation for them, and honestly they do just as good of a job as women. I did put an example into my paper about a girl wanting to become a construction worker and the worries that their father and mother would have. and kind of go into a little bit of detail of that. And I feel like we're keeping our country from doing the best that we can, and that's what I state in my conclusion, is that if we want to be the best that we can be, and if we want to continue to drive this country in the right direction, we need to put our best foot forward and continue on with encouraging those that, no matter what their gender is, to do what they love to do and do what they're good at. The next portion, the next video, will be an interview with my niece, Zoe Zaire, and she kind of is asked questions about occupations, toys, and parental duties, who's responsible for them, male or female, and she makes a very, I thought, staggering statement that men are better than women, and I don't know if that's just from her experiences in school or at home, but it just goes to show she's 5 years old and she already has a very strong gender stereotypical attitude. That interview is in part 1 and part 2, and then I also have at the end a discussion with my husband and one of my friends after we discussed the paper and we watched the interview and this video about what was said and done. So thank you for your time. Again, my name is Lindsay Zaire, and this is my paper about gender stereotyping affecting children. Thank you.